influencing popular culture, politics, and everything in between. The local station takes you ringside as we discuss the crazy world that is professional wrestling. This is Going Ringside with the local station.
Hello there, and thank you for joining us today for this latest episode of Going Ringside, and we have a packed episode for you today. So glad you could be with us. If this is your first time checking out the show, because we know we're going to be announcing a contest winner today, want to tell you a little about us. We're a weekly show all about the pro wrestling world, past and present, and what's coming up in the future. Don't miss it. If you like WWE, if you like AEW or TNA, New Japan, whatever, check us out each week as well. We're bringing you the top stars in all of the wrestling world with major guests coming all year long, so you don't want to miss it. On tap today, that is the case as well. We're going to be joined in a little bit by Montez Ford, WWE Smackdown superstar, will be here on the show with us to discuss his life in WWE, his marriage to Bianca Belair, and everything going on in his world as Smackdown comes here to May 17th in Jacksonville. We're at the arena in town here. If you're in the area, you may have signed up for our big ticket giveaway. We're going to be announcing shortly here on the show 4 ringside seats to the May 17th Smackdown down at the arena. I want to point out our next show, we're going to take it on the road. We're going to be live from Smackdown, set up right in front of the arena. So if you're in Jacksonville, go to the show. Come out and say hi. We'd love to interact with the fans. This is one of the few times we've really had a chance to be out with you to bring you a live show in front of SmackDown on May 17th. Be there. Give us a shout out. Say hi to us out at the arena in Jacksonville if you're going to SmackDown. Also, another big interview today. I was so excited to get this guy. I didn't know a lot about him, and then when everyone told me his story, I was like, oh my God, this is one of the greatest interviews in all of wrestling. That I don't know if this guy's really done many interviews. So his name is Nightmare Danny Davis. He used to run WWE's developmental territory, Ohio Valley Wrestling, OVW. Do you know he discovered and trained John Cena, Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, Dave Batista? We interviewed him at the Shad Gaspard Memorial Cup, honoring Shad Gaspard, who was also one of his trainees. He was part of Crime Time back in the day and passed away in 2020 when rescuing his son from drowning in the ocean. You can check out our Shad Gaspard episode in the archives right now. So a packed show today, and coming up, we are going to announce the winners of our Smackdown ticket giveaway. But first, we want to talk to Montez Ford about this SmackDown show, what you can expect. He, of course, will be performing. He is a SmackDown star, married to Bianca Belair, who's essentially at the top of the women's division. So let's get to it. Our first interview on this packed show, here's WWE SmackDown superstar Montez Ford. Well, we're excited to be joined right now by WWE superstar Montez Ford. Montez, thanks for joining us today.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning. Thanks for coming on the show. So happy to have you here. First off, let's not bury the lead. You know, you guys are coming back to our neck of the woods down in Jacksonville for SmackDown on May 17th. SmackDown is really one of the hottest shows on TV right now.
Yes, absolutely. Still currently running on Fox. And, you know, it's crazy because Jacksonville is kind of like home for a lot of us. Like a lot of us started in developmental and NXT right down there in the Orlando area. So yeah. Jacksonville has always been like one of the coconut loops, like homes for us. So like, it's always good to come back to Jacksonville. Great wrestling city. So we're very, very excited for it too. And then it's an exciting time of the year too, because this is right around the time that the draft should be finished happening. So you might see some new faces from either NXT, Raw, or SmackDown.
Wait, whoa. If the draft is happening, will you say on SmackDown? Any idea yet?
You know, I have no idea. His draft is like a draft pool, you know, it's just everything's so random. So the exciting time about the Jacksonville show is that it's actually, like I said, 2.5 weeks post the actual draft. So you might see some NXT hopefuls. You might see some individuals that were on Raw come to SmackDown. You may see some individuals like myself that's on SmackDown remain there. Or, you know, like I said, it's a great time of the year, very exciting. And the show should be like I said, always, you know, Jacksonville's home for us, so we always put on a good show.
Well, I want to talk a little about what you've been doing. You know, you have been a tag team champ. Now you're in faction with Bobby Lashley and B-Fab. Is it time for you for a singles run? Any thoughts on that?
It's so crazy. I get asked that all the time, and I feel like for myself and Dawkins, we have so much that, we're still trying to obtain as a tag team. And but I will say, like, if that opportunity happens, and like we just spoke of when it comes to the draft, myself could be drafted to one show, he could be drafted to one show. So we both always talk about if the opportunity presents itself, like we're going. So, but as of right now, we're still together and we're trying to win. We just won our number one contendership last week for the new WWE
I gotta ask you
Tag
about
Team
that.
Championship. So, like, the focus at hand is right there. So if I'm worried about, being solo at the point, it might knock the focus off getting those tag team championships back. It's been like 3 years. So
we just had one of the guys involved in that, Grayson Waller, on the show, telling me that he thinks they Train Down Under is going to roll over all the teams in WWE. Your response to that?
It's very good to see the confidence in our young youth still be at an all-time high. It's so good to see that. But the sad part is, in life, there are some delusional statements, and that is one of them. They can probably run through those other tag teams, but they can't run through the Triple Crown that always puts it down Street Profits. We evolve NXT, Raw, and SmackDown tag team championships. We're not a newly formed tag team. We've been doing this for 8+ years, so we're not just any tag team. So that statement, while as confident as it may sound, is very delusional, sir. So
good. I'm glad you could clarify that for me. I want to talk to you. You're not just known for in-ring work, obviously. Many fans know you for a totally different reason. That would be loving WWE with your wife.
Yes.
What has that been like to shoot that experience of just putting your kind of life out there for the world to consume?
It's been like pretty much a whole project that like a vacation project, because I didn't never feel like I was working. Anytime I'm working beside my wife, it's the best thing ever. And like, so anytime we have an opportunity to have more time with each other, we're going to take advantage of it. So, but we worked, it was a time when we were shooting pretty much like, it was a time period in like 6 months in which we would be doing both Raw and SmackDown and the live events. And then once we would get home, we would be filming all the way up as it was time to leave again. So it was like 6 months straight of just nonstop, no days off, going from WWE and appearances to actually filming a show. So it's been amazing. It's been wild. Different experiences as well, but a good one as well, because we had so much fun shooting that and just showing the world a different side of us, outside of the wrestling ring. Because the WWE universe only sees us, when we're in the WWE ring or when we're doing a live show or an appearance, but it was good to show them everything that leads up to these big moments, and like how we get our gear together and how we manage to try to make time with each other in such a busy, hectic schedule. So I was glad we was able to show the world that.
There is a clip from the show that everyone was saying you got to ask him about it, that has gone a little viral and involving Bianca's hair. What was that like? Can you tell me the kind of what the fallout has been of that?
Nah, it's just another one of those instances in which, like, she does so many things that like she can just make and craft. And I think that was just another one of those situations where I was just like, wow, this is this another thing that you have invented and made value to yourself? She just makes so many different things that, she can function and like deal with, and very, very convenient for her. Very, very smart. So it was just kind of like me being taken aback again of something else she created. So, that's just her though.
And I want to get back to you in 1 second, but one quick question. How's she doing? She's got a lot going on her own side with Jade, Naomi, and all this drama that they, have to face. How's she doing right now?
Oh, man, she's doing fantastic. This is like a great experience for her. She's got two other individuals, from the same background, same cultures, and them like kind of like leading the way and like, being at the forefront and, showing a different side to the WWE universe and their presentation and everything. And it seems like she's always having fun, but I feel like now she's really, really having, a good time to even share her like wealth and knowledge to, them as well. So it's been great to see. And like, I'm pretty sure they're going to go very, very far as she has been doing so far. So it's exciting to watch.
On your end, you're with Bobby Lashley, B-Fab, you were with Angelo Dawkins so long. Talk to me about that transition that you went through.
It's amazing. Like you said, me and Doc's been a tag team ever since like late 2016. So this is actually entering our 8th year being with the Street Profits. Like this is the one thing I've done the entire time I've been in the WWE. So being transitioned to be with someone like Bobby, I think is so cool. And it's like full circle for me because like when I was watching WWE coming up, and it's crazy because Bobby's going to probably kill me for making it seem like he's old. But when I was watching WWE coming up in middle school and high school, I mean, I was watching Bobby Lashley. I was watching his matches with John Cena and, him competing for the United States Championship at the time. And then seeing like how we had similar backgrounds from him coming to like the service and then doing WWE. So he was always someone I watched, idolized, and like tried to take after. So like now, for us being now associated and part of that, it's like a full circle for me because it's like, man, like, did the same things, worked hard, and like now I'm with someone I watched and idolized growing up, and like they're actually leading me to the success that they've had. And like overjoyed, I can't wait to see the success that we have. And he's very, very smart. And I literally was just in the gym with him this weekend and still recovering. So, because I don't understand how you can be, 50 years old and still younger and look better and stronger than everybody else. So whatever fountain of youth he's drinking from, I'm eventually have to crack the code and figure out where it is. But yes.
I want to get your perspective on an industry question for you. The success of African-American wrestlers, like literally this moment in just the wrestling universe. You, Trick Williams is NXT champion. We've seen Willow Nightingale, Swerve, Moose, a lot of others all across the spectrum. What do you think this means right now for the industry?
I think it's amazing because in any aspect, any type of representation matters. So like anytime you see and I'm living proof of that. I just spoke of how seeing Bobby Lashley do the things when I was growing up and Booker T, and how it not only just made me love professional wrestling even more, but it made me even more motivated to know hey, somebody like me is doing this at this high level. I can do the same thing. So I'm walking and living proof that, it all matters. And it's a good time in the industry, and it's a good time to show what we can do, our backgrounds, and they're all different. They all have their own different stories. I don't think that they share is the common hue, but besides that, they all have different stories, and very excited to let and see how everyone tells those different stories.
What's the mood right now post-Mania? Right before Mania, Rock said something. He said, wrestling is cool again. What are your thoughts on that statement? I mean, for the last months, it's just been the talk of everywhere, all entertainment, sports, media. What do you think? What are your thoughts on where WWE's at right now?
And I was talking to my beautiful wife about this last night. I was like, I feel like I'm watching it as a kid again. When I was watching it in the early 90s to the 2000s, the Attitude Era and everything now, I feel like we're actually in that era as well, in which everyone's having fun. And I think that's the main thing. Everyone's having so much fun, and there's so much passion into the stories that everyone is trying to tell, in all aspects, whether it be Raw, SmackDown, or NXT. There's so much passion, there's so much hunger, and everyone's just trying to have the most fun. We have this blessed fortune ability to provide an escape to the world and to the WWE universe, and the fact that we're able to do it, on these 3 different shows. I think that's why it is the way it is now. So it's a lot of hunger and a lot of passion. Everyone's just trying to have fun, and the same amount of fun we had growing up watching it.
Almost every day you tweet out, God is good. Talk to me about the importance of religion in your life and kind of how that, impacts your crazy schedule.
Yeah. So when I was even from younger all the way up to now at adolescence, I was always, in the church, sung in the church, in the church choir, were involved in all the church programs. And that was just the foundation that my parents always kept me in, and it always kept me grounded as well too, because, with this, like you said, this crazy schedule and this life and everything, like you learn to still be humble and be appreciative to know, like, not only just your foundations, but where it all comes from. And like doing everything's in divine order. And like, by doing these things, like these things come back to you and all the blessings that it does do, and just walking in, like, I believe in, like, God's eye, his mission, and everything else. Treating everyone you want to be treated. And I think that's the foundation that always been distilled within me, like, since I was a child. And I tweet God is good every day, because whatever I didn't get a chance to do yesterday, I have a chance to do better today. And I always thank God. That's my way of thanking him, of like, hey, thank you for giving me another opportunity to get it right with whether it was conversation, a wrestling match, whatever it was. I have a chance today to not only get it right and make it right, but actually be better than yesterday.
I want to get your opinion on what celebrity's like. 10, 15 years ago for you and your wife, celebrity at this level certainly wasn't a thing. What's it like? I mean, has it changed you? Have you had to keep grounded? Do you pinch yourself, thinking this is really happening?
I think, like, what me and my wife have an issue with the most is just taking it all in sometimes, like just actually sitting back and just, like, just counting the blessings at times. Like, we're such perfectionists. So, like, anytime an event or accolade or a plateau we reach, we're thinking about the next plateau and how we can get better. But I think, like, that's one of the things that we try to do the most too, is just sit back and take in and just realize all the blessings that we're having and how, fortunate it is. And I don't think it ever gets to a point of where, it's us higher or above anyone else. I think it's just always like, wow, this is really happening. Because even when we first got together, the mission was never, let's get a reality TV show. Let's win an ESPY. Let's do all these things that's happening. It was always like, we just wanted to be together. So everything that's happening now is like a plus and it's a blessing. So, like, we never take that for granted, because, like, we both understand, like, tomorrow this could be all over. But even if it is, like, we're happy with everything that's happened to this point, because, like I said, from the start, it was never the plan. So very, very blessed and fortunate for that position.
Well, Montez Ford, May 17th, Smackdown in Jacksonville. Before we go, why should fans go? What are they going to get?
Come on, and you know why fans should go. It is the #1 live event in the world. Okay, the greatest show in the world. And we're not talking about Ringling Brothers, Barlin Bailey. We are talking about the WWE superstars. You're going to get a chance to see freshly new superstars, maybe the same superstars you see all the time, from WWE, from Cody Rhodes, the new WWE Undisputed World Heavyweight Champion, to the EST of the WWE, including myself, along with Almighty Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. It's the greatest show in the world. You can't miss it. And what better way to kick off the summer than with your favorite WWE superstars in Jacksonville, Florida.
Montez Ford, SmackDown Superstar, thank you, sir, for joining us today.
Thank you, sir. God bless.
So I want to thank Montez Ford for coming on the show today. So excited to hear about him and his wife, Bianca Belair, and what they got going on. He, of course, will be here for that big SmackDown, which is why a lot of you tuned in today. So it's time to announce our contest winner. I know there's been a lot of buzz around Northeast Florida and then the wrestling world about our 4 ringside SmackDown ticket giveaway. Well, we finally have a winner, and I want to announce it to you right now. Let's put her, a hint right there on the screen. Her name is Jasmine Smith. Jasmine from Jacksonville has won the 4 ringside seats to the May 17th SmackDown in Jacksonville, where Montez and others, of course, will be performing. So congratulations, Jasmine. We will be reaching out to you on how to get the tickets, and we appreciate the roughly 1,600 plus people who entered this big contest. We were so excited to partner with WWE for this great prize. 4 ringside tickets to SmackDown May 17th. Jasmine, congratulations. And now I want to get to our other interview for the day. An interview I couldn't believe we got. This guy almost never talks publicly. He is the guy who has trained the biggest stars this industry has ever seen. He trained John Cena. He trained Dave Batista. He trained Brock Lesnar. He trained and discovered Randy Orton in Ohio Valley Wrestling, OVW, WWE's longtime developmental territory. His name is Nightmare Danny Davis. He built these stars in arguably the greatest class WWE has ever seen in its history. And I was so glad to meet him up. So where did I meet him? I met him at the Shad Gaspard Memorial Cup put on by friend of the show, Elijah Burke, here in Jacksonville to honor the late Shad Gaspard, who Danny Davis also discovered and trained. He was one half of Crime Time. And we did a full show about it. You can look at it in the archives about how he died in 2020, drowned in the Pacific Ocean, rescuing his son, a true hero. Well, they did an event to him, and I was able to run into Nightmare Danny Davis. Everyone was so excited to say, you've got to see the legend here. Because anyone who came up in WWE through OVW knew he was the man who built the stars. The biggest stars ever, like Cena and Batista. We talked to them. We talked to Danny about their venture into Hollywood, about what it was like to train a young Brock Lesnar, about what it was like to train Randy Orton, who was this guy who grew up in the pro wrestling industry. So let's get to it. I was so excited to talk to Danny Davis. He has a wealth of knowledge about the wrestling world and the greatest of all time who were discovered by him. So here's our interview with Nightmare Danny Davis. Well, we are here with, as everyone tells me, the legendary Danny Davis. Danny, thanks for joining us on the show today.
Hey, thank you, Scott. Appreciate the invite.
So I wasn't as familiar until our friend of the show, Elijah Burke, told me all about your background at OVW.
Yes.
And just training the greats in this industry. Talk to me about your background.
Well, you know, for 10 years, OVW, home base was Louisville, Kentucky. We trained pretty much all the known wrestlers for WWE back in the time. And we actually had sent a total of about 115 individuals, male and female, to WWE.
So you worked with the legends. Right now we're talking about Shad Gaspard here with Prime Time,
great
JTG. And
yes.
You talk to me about bringing up JTG and Shad Gaspard and helping them train.
Plain and simple, those two guys had what it takes to succeed in this business. It's called the it factor. They had a gift. It's something you can't teach. It's a gift that you were actually born with. And fortunately, both of those talent had it to succeed in the business. And Shad Gaspard, an exemplar, just a wonderful, wonderful human being.
And talk to me about you discovered the legends. I want to start with maybe the biggest of them all, John Cena.
John Cena.
How did that happen?
Plain and simple, when we first started training individuals for World Wrestling Federation at the time, John relocated to Louisville, Kentucky. Jeffersonville, Indiana is where the first arena was. And he came in and spent about a year and a half there cutting his teeth, honing his skills until he got called up to the main roster.
Did you know he had it at that point?
5 minutes after I was introduced to John Cena, I knew he had it, because a lot of guys who relocate and come to a different city, they need help, like finding an apartment or just anything. John had already found an apartment, set himself up. He knew where the local gym was for him to work out, and all he had to do was just show up at OVW. I did not have to babysit him, not one bit.
So he was different than like a Randy Orton. Randy Orton grew up in the industry.
Yes, he
did. Talk to
did.
me about the difference between like a Cena and an Orton,
Sure.
you know, a guy who grew up in it.
Sure. Well, first off, Randy Orton, like you said, grew up in the business. He watched his dad, he watched his grandpa, you know, and so he kind of had teachings growing up on how to act and what, you know, everything to do. And he was a good technical wrestler along with a good entertainer, Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Well, John Cena, and I'm sure he wouldn't mind me saying this, he really was not that good of a technical wrestler. But John Cena had a gift, the gift of gab. And he could talk his way out of any situation, and he had charisma. He just something about him that he also had the it factor, but in a different way. It wasn't technical wrestling. It was a way to make a connection with each and every individual that was in the arena or at home watching on TV. He had that gift.
And then the other guy who kind of went as big as Cena, Dave Batista.
Dave Batista, and back in the day, he was known as Leviathan.
Yeah.
Back when he was training, he came out of the Mississippi River, you know, back in the day. And so a big, massive man who was a gentle soul. He was a very quiet man. And the first time I saw him, I called the office. Jim Ross was head of talent relations at the time. I called him and says, this guy he's got a WrestleMania moment.
He looked like a wrestler. The thing that I think shocked everyone was the acting.
Yes. When he kind of retired from wrestling and got into acting and did the things he did, I didn't know that he had that gift. But buddy, he did.
Yeah.
He's just a great entertainer.
So was Lesnar in your class too?
Absolutely,
Talk
yes.
to me about Brock. Now Brock, when you come in, he's a beast.
Literally, yeah. And Brock, he looks in the mirror every morning. He gets up and he challenges himself. Mm-hmm. He is never laid back. He does not rest on his laurels. He tries to find ways to make himself better each and every single day of his life. That's him. And what you see on TV, how he is, how arrogant, how he was in the MMA world, that's him in real life.
So I hear all the time about wrestlers going in. It's so hard when you just start out and they stretch you and all that stuff. For Brock Lesnar, was that the case, though?
No one could stretch Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar decided who he was going to stretch. Ask Kurt Angle.
So did Vince and everyone kind of know when Lesnar came in, we've got something here, even before he was in WWE?
Yes. Yeah, because I mean, he was a NCAA wrestling champion,
Yeah.
And so when you have that kind of a background coming into the pro world, it's not a given, but it's a giant leap forward in succeeding. Because and Brock, although he was intensity all the time, Brock was very athletic. I mean, he could do aerial moves that most lightweights could not do.
Yeah.
He was just, I mean, he was 6'3", 6'4", weighed 290 pounds. This guy, there's nothing that he could not do or wouldn't try to do if he couldn't do it.
Can you believe the class you had there back in the early 2000s? It was incredible.
It will never be repeated again because I don't think the caliber of individuals are coming up through the ranks. I just don't. I mean, I hope that it is, Scott, but I honestly don't know if that caliber of individual is being born this day and age.
What are you doing with yourself now? You still involved in it?
No. 5 years ago, I sold my company and my wife and I relocated to Clearwater, Florida, retired. This is the first thing I've done in the pro wrestling and because I'm great friends with Elijah. He was one of my guys that I trained, and he's done well. And this benefit for Chad Gaspard, his family and whatnot, this Memorial Cup is, when he asked me to be a part of it, there's no way I was going to say no.
Sure.
And so my wife and I drove up from Clearwater, and we've got to see some sights here in Jacksonville, and we love it. And if we stay over, we're going to tune in to Channel 4.
We look forward to it. Danny Davis, thanks for joining us on the show today.
I appreciate it. My pleasure.
Thank you. So excited to get Danny Davis on. I didn't know who he was. I'd heard of a guy named Danny Davis, not to be confused with the old 80s referee, but I didn't quite understand his legacy. John Cena, Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, Dave Batista, Crime Time, of course, so many others, to really coach and discover and train the greatest of all time. It was really impressive. That's why everyone I talked to said, you got to talk to Danny Davis. He's a legend. We got him to come out of retirement for that Chad Gaspard event, and I was so excited to talk with him, chat with him about these stars, these global phenomenons that he singularly created. Very appreciative of him coming on the show with me. And I also appreciate Montez Ford joining us here on the show today, and thank you for joining us. If this is your first time because you wanted to check out the Smackdown free tickets contest, well, thank you for joining us here today. We hope you'll join us back here again. And once again, a programming note, next week, we're actually going to be on live Friday instead of our normal Wednesday because we're going to be live out at Smackdown in Jacksonville. Right out front, broadcast going to start right around 7 o'clock. Come by and say hi. Look forward to seeing all you fans, and thanks for watching today for Going Ringside. We'll see you back here next time.
This has been Going Ringside with The Local Station, brought to you every Wednesday on your favorite podcast player, on News 4 Jax Plus, as well as the News 4 Jax YouTube channel.